Hello and welcome to Sharing the Light. I'm Reverend Griffin. Sharing the Light is an online ministry opportunity of the Sunshine Cathedral located in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Today I'm joined by Reverend Durrell Watkins, who is the pastor of the Sunshine Cathedral here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and also Reverend B.K. Hipshire, who is our new virtual church chaplain. And I want to say welcome to you both today. In our segment today, we're going to be speaking on the topic of why healthy religion must confront transphobia. And it's a very loaded topic, so we're going to get right into it and see which way we're going to carry this conversation.
Transphobia, I guess we just should define that. Obviously, fear or discomfort with people who identify as transgender. That people who are beyond binary gender constructs, who don't experience themselves as the same gender as the biological sex they physically appear to be. And so these people who are transgender make the broader culture sometimes uncomfortable, and that creates fear, and there's a power struggle. And so that's what we're calling transphobia, I think so. And because it is a justice issue, once again, just like we've been talking about these other issues for these last several weeks, to be a follower of Jesus is to be a promoter of justice and inclusion and goodwill for all people. Come unto me all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will refresh you. That's sort of the core of who we are. And so because there are transgender people among us, we have to see them as being made in the image and likeness of God, God that is beyond any single gender God self. And so transgender people may in fact have a very special thing to teach us about relating to a God that is bigger than any particular narrow construct.
Okay.
I think it's really vital that we acknowledge that the term transgender is really an umbrella term that covers a lot of territory, from transvestite to transsexual to intersexual to various forms of just gender fluidity, indeed. So I think it's really vital to say here and now that we're not attempting to define a transgender in a particular way. It is really a very broad umbrella term. And I do believe that it is vitally important that we look at the binary gender construct. Men are men, women are women, men are attracted to women, women are attracted to men, masculine is masculine, feminine is feminine. All these things are gender coded into us from day one. For instance, all the time I hear women who are pregnant or when babies are born and their gender is not immediately apparent, what is it? And the reason that people have to know, what is it a boy, is it a girl? Because they immediately have to know how to relate to the child, the baby, that has no yet formed personality per se, but has to know the gender so that we can know how to relate. This gender coding begins just really before we're born, if the gender is known.
Right. Yeah, and this is really a steep issue for a lot of churches, as we on the top of being more welcoming to people.
Yes.
So as we look at the thought of what does it mean to welcome trans people into our congregation, how do we begin to have the conversation that's germane to the LGBT community? Why is it important for us to look at this issue as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people, we say LBGT, and I think sometimes people who feel B or T feel that is almost lip service.
Absolutely.
That really we're talking about, that in the queer community there's gay and lesbian, and then I guess we'll let you other guys tag along with us or whatever. And so within our LBGT world, we may be creating a hierarchy, a hierarchy of needs, a hierarchy of acceptance, a hierarchy of privilege, and so who is getting left out of that? And we want to address that. I mean, we can't demand our benefits, our privileges, our equality, our justice for us if we aren't going to be mindful of the needs of others. And so I think it is an ethical issue, it is a moral issue, it is an integrity issue.
Yes.
Do we take this particular group for granted by just making the assumption that everyone is welcome when they come, or do we have to do internal work in our local churches to really say people are welcome in all of our in all that we do in the gay community, and using the gay as the umbrella for all of us?
Well, I think people who are different from us sometimes make us feel uncomfortable. because of whatever reason. Maybe they remind us of who we are that we don't want people to know, or what we were that we've tried to transcend, or an experience that we had that were negative, that was negative in the past. And so we transfer a lot of our internal stuff onto others. And people who are different are really good about triggering that stuff for us. For instance, I will come out on the internet as saying, Durrell is my middle name. A lot of people in my family go by their middle names. We all have first names that we abhor. We all got the good middle name. And so a lot of us go by our middle name, and I'm no exception. But I go by my middle name not only because I think Durrell is a really cool name. You hardly ever meet a Durrell. And so, a queer person likes to be different. And so there's that. But the other thing is that my first name is Stacy. And which is a perfectly fine name, except I have a lisp. It's hard for me to say, even still. I'm 42 years old. But in the 4th grade, I sit down at my desk. There's name tags on all the desks. All the little boys have football name tags. All the little girls have megaphone name tags. My name tag is a megaphone. I was sort of marginalized based on an assumption. Right. And then of course they're snickering and blah, 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 you got a megaphone. And so I immediately got the sense that boys are better than girls. Yeah. Boys that are like girls or have anything in common with girls are less boyish, and that makes you less than. Well, that's an early lesson you learn in life.
Exactly.
And so you deal with that lots of ways, maybe by becoming more sensitive and inclusive, or maybe becoming less. Maybe you become part of the, or whatever. And here comes these people who embrace something inside of them that that was difficult for others of us. And I think that might make us feel uncomfortable. And how courageous it is that instead of saying, well, I'm going to go by my middle name, and just, and try to butch it up a little bit. I failed at the number 2 part maybe. But it's how courageous to say, well, you know what, I'm going to explore and maybe call myself genderqueer or two-spirited or whatever, all the wonderful things that people do. And so I just think that people who demonstrate a courage or a willingness to go somewhere that we didn't have push a lot of our buttons.
Yeah, and I think transgender people just challenge all the power structure of male over female and patriarchal ideas. I mean,
that whole name thing is a power thing.
Well, absolutely.
But who knows in the 4th grade?
Well,
but that is a power
absolutely.
thing.
But what we have when we have, say, a man who transitions to a woman, or a male who transitions to a female, I have heard these questions within the queer community, within the GLBT community, asked of me. Well, why on earth would anyone want to do that? Why would you want to give up male privilege? Because there's an underlying assumption that male is better.
Right.
And conversely, when a female transitions to male, there's sort of an underlying understanding of that, and yet there's still a prohibition. How dare you walk into this club?
Right.
So
assert yourself into the...
Yes, these gender constructs are very, very clearly identified.
And notice how two women are together, 2 men are together. They're a same gender identified couple. One of them discovers their trans reality, transitions. Now they seem to be a two-gender couple. Think of how much struggle that involves. Am I straight now? Am I still a gay person in love with someone of the opposite gender? Are we just queer and this is just how I mean, there's all these questions. And they have to deal with that.
Yes.
And with what kind of support if we're not even open to the broadness and the continuum of gender issues to begin with?
Yeah.
That's a terrible thing that people should have to deal with on their own.
That's right, and probably all of us know a couple like that. I know several couples like that.
Well, I want to thank you for joining us today on this topic of really addressing what it means to look at transphobia in our community. And I look forward to having you both back again at some point in the near future. Thank you. I want to thank you for joining us. If you have any questions about us, please visit us on our website at www.sunshinecathedral.org or write to me at robert@sunshinecathedral.org.
If you're in the Fort Lauderdale area, we'd love for you to worship with us on Sundays at 9 a.m., 10:30 a.m., or 6 p.m. And of course, you can watch our sermons online at the website. You can also make prayer requests or donations online. We wish you blessings for your spiritual journeys.
Thank you for joining us here today at Sharing the Light.